Today, we're really getting into your source material on business English, the focus, nailing that effective, polite, and professional communication with colleagues. Our mission is basically to give you a shortcut, those key insights to feel more confident in everyday work situations.
Exactly. And it's more important than it might seem at first glance. These simple interactions, asking for help, confirming a meeting, they're kind of the building blocks, right? Getting them right isn't just about efficiency, it's how you build rapport, how you collaborate smoothly. Turns awkward moments into, well, just work getting done.
Okay, so let's dive right into a really common scenario from the source. Asking for help, coordinating stuff. Think about Mark and Lisa. Mark's working on a sales report, needs help organizing data, and also needs to check on a meeting time. He goes up to Lisa. It's not just what he says, but how he approaches it.
Spot on. That dialogue is like a mini masterclass. Mark starts with, "Do you have a moment?" So simple, but it's polite, shows respect for her time immediately. And Lisa's reply, "Sure, what's up?" It's informal, but still professional. Open. Not too casual, not too stiff.
Yeah, and I thought it was interesting how Mark explains his task. He doesn't just dump it on her. He says, I'm working on the sales report, then pinpoints the problem. I'm not sure how to organize the data. It's clear, shows he's already thought about it, makes it easier for Lisa to actually help.
Absolutely. And the source gives you that practical vocabulary, too, like mentioning the shared folder. It seems basic, but saying where the file is saves time, avoids confusion, or Lisa's reminder, don't forget your laptop. It's direct, helpful, not nagging. These little things really add up.
And that brings us to something really key the source digs into, the nuance of polite questions. It's often subtle how you phrase things.
Oh, definitely. This is where perceived politeness really comes into play. The source highlights the difference between using can and could. So can you help me? Is okay, people understand it, but could you show me where the file is? That often lands differently, feels more polite.
Why is that, though? What's the core difference?
Well, the source suggests can sometimes sounds like you're questioning someone's ability. Like, are you physically able to do this? Which can feel a bit blunt, maybe even demanding, whereas could leans more towards possibility or willingness. Would you be willing to, or is it possible for you to? It
Mm.
feels more respectful of their choice, their time. It's a subtle shift, but especially in business, it shows deference. Makes the request feel, well, softer.
Right, it's those tiny linguistic choices that shape how people see you professionally.
Mm.
And the source material doesn't just list rules, does it? It mentions practice sections. How does that work?
Yeah, that's where it gets really practical. It's not just theory. The listening parts have like real world dialogue snippets, so you start hearing these polite forms naturally. And the speaking practice, it's more than just repeating phrases. It might give you scenarios like, okay, now you ask for help politely, or how would you follow up on this email? So you actually start using the language, building that muscle memory. It helps make it automatic.
Okay, so wrapping this up for you listening,
Yeah.
what have we pulled out from this deep dive? It's about knowing how to use those polite phrases, talk about work clearly, and just sound more natural and professional.
Exactly. That's the goal. So maybe think about this. How can consciously picking these phrases, especially that can versus could thing, how can that not just make you clearer, but actually boost your professional image and maybe even build stronger working relationships? Where's one place, maybe even today or tomorrow, you could try applying this?
Something to mull over. And looking ahead, the source material points towards our next deep dive topic. We'll be getting into English for interviews. Really useful if you're job hunting or prepping for any kind of formal discussion.
Think about your professional life for a moment. It's just this constant flow of conversations, isn't it?
Absolutely. All day long.
From, a quick chat by the coffee machine to maybe a more formal client call or even an interview. We're always talking. But how often do we really stop and think about the precision in those words, the sort of underlying structures that make these interactions work well?
Or sometimes not work so well.
Exactly, that make them truly effective or sometimes just fall flat. So today, we're doing a deep dive into what we're calling essential business English dialogues.
Right.
And these aren't just, polite exchanges you just kind of get through. They're actually, if you look closely, like mini masterclasses in efficient communication.
Hiding in plain sight, really.
Yeah, hiding in plain sight. Our mission today is to unpack some of these everyday scenarios. We want to reveal the core communication strategies, maybe find some surprising little nuggets that elevate these simple chats into, well, powerful professional tools.
Think of it as a shortcut, maybe.
Yeah, exactly. A shortcut to navigating the professional world with a bit more confidence, more clarity. So, what secrets are actually hiding in our daily work chats?
Well, it's fascinating when you start looking. There's so much efficiency packed into interactions that often seem pretty casual on the surface.
Okay.
Like if we take a look at the general flow of just typical business conversations, let's say between Emma, a team leader, and Daniel, who's a marketing assistant.
Right.
These exchanges, even the really simple ones, they truly set the tone for productivity, don't they?
I think so. Emma starts off something like, "How's everything going with the campaign?" And Daniel jumps right in proactively. "It's going well. I just finished the draft for the social media plan." What can we really pull apart from just that first little exchange?
Well, you kind of hit on it there. Daniel's immediate proactive update,
Yeah.
it's not just being polite.
No.
No, it builds trust straight away.
Yeah.
And clarity. The sort of surprising nugget here is that these proactive updates and then the clear next steps that follow, they don't just communicate information. They actually sort of choreograph the efficiency for what comes next. They set a really positive tone for the whole workflow.
Choreograph efficiency. I like that.
Yeah. And then Emma reinforces this, right? She gives clear instructions. Could you email it to me when you get a chance? Simple.
And Daniel confirms, "I'll send it right after this meeting." No ambiguity.
None. And then they move seamlessly into scheduling, efficiently sorting out the design team meeting. Are you available tomorrow at 10 a.m.?
Right. So it's not just what's said, but the speed, the clarity, setting expectations, next steps, like just focus on finalizing the campaign timeline. It all flows.
Precisely.
Okay, so speaking of expectations, deadlines can be tricky. Discussing them often feels like a delicate balance, doesn't it?
Oh, definitely.
How do you get the updates you need without sounding like you're, breathing down someone's neck?
That's a challenge we all face, I think. Nina's approach with Jacob in this next example is, well, it's pretty good at navigating this.
How?
She just asked directly, are we still on track to finish the report by Friday? It's straightforward.
Okay.
And what's really crucial is Jacob's transparency. He doesn't try to hide it. He says, we might need one extra day. We're waiting on data from the finance team.
So he identifies the bottleneck.
Exactly. And the powerful insight there is the transparency combined with Nina's immediate offer of support. She doesn't blame. She says, let me follow up with them.
Right, that turns a potential problem into like a shared task quickly.
Instantly. So the vital lesson for you, the listener, is really the importance of giving clear status updates and identifying those bottlenecks like the missing finance data really early on. Don't wait.
Makes sense. Just as important as giving clear updates, sometimes the most efficient thing is knowing when and maybe how to ask for help yourself. It can feel a bit awkward sometimes, can it? Like admitting you've hit a wall. But doing it right is actually, well, it's a sign of strength, not weakness.
And what's really skillful about Sarah's approach with Alex here is she doesn't just say help,
Right. Vague pleas aren't helpful.
No. She clearly states her problem. I'm having trouble updating the client list. Specific.
Okay.
And then she asks for specific assistance. Could you walk me through it?
So stating the problem and the help needed.
Exactly. It removes all the guesswork for Alex. It makes the help he gives much more targeted, much more efficient, instead of just a vague, I'm stuck.
Yeah, I see. And Alex's response?
It's supportive and it's guided. He says,
Yeah.
of course. Have you logged into the CRM system yet? That's the customer relationship management software.
Right, for tracking clients.
Yeah. And then he offers, let's look at it together.
Hmm.
So this structured ask, followed by that guided support, makes fixing the issue, like entering new contact details into the CRM. It makes it efficient and, frankly, less stressful for everyone.
Okay, so asking for help effectively is one thing. Giving feedback, that can be even trickier, can it?
Oh, yeah. Often more awkward.
It's absolutely crucial for growth, for improvement, but it often makes people, well, squirm a bit. So how does Michael, in this example, manage to give feedback to Anna that's effective and constructive, not demoralizing?
Well, Michael's interaction with Anna here is, it's almost textbook perfect for feedback. It's a bit of a masterclass.
Okay. Oh.
He starts with praise. Great work overall. Well, that's key.
Why start there?
Because it lowers Anna's defenses. It primes her to actually listen, to absorb, and hopefully act on the feedback that comes next.
Makes sense. Soften the ground first.
Right. Then he gives very specific, actionable recommendations about her draft proposal. Things like simplifying the introduction and adding one more example in section 2, not vague stuff.
Actionable. Got it.
And Anna's response, got it, I'll make the changes. It shows she's listened, she's understood, she's willing to act. That whole structure ensures the feedback is constructive and, importantly, easy to implement.
It sounds pretty ideal, but, thinking about it, were there maybe subtle cues Michael might have used? Things beyond just the praise to make sure Anna was really receptive?
That's a really good point. Maybe his tone of voice was relaxed.
Yeah, or perhaps open body language, something to signal, hey, this is a collaboration, not a critique.
Exactly. Those nonverbal things matter hugely.
Okay, so moving beyond individual tasks and feedback, the real kind of orchestra of business often happens in project coordination, doesn't it?
The bigger picture.
And even within that, something as seemingly simple as scheduling a meeting can be a surprising test of communication skills.
Oh, absolutely. We've all been in those endless email chains trying to find a time.
Tell me about it.
The dialogue between Raj and Maria about scheduling a quick meeting for next week's presentation, it highlights this perfectly, but in a good way.
Okay.
Raj suggests, how about Thursday at 11 a.m.? Maria can't make it, but she immediately offers an alternative. I have a meeting at 11. Can we do 2 p.m. instead?
Simple back and forth. Quick resolution.
And it shows flexibility, mutual respect for each other's schedules. The key is really that swift alternative suggestion, not just, I can't do then.
Right. Keep the ball rolling. And when you're coordinating these projects, you need updates. Concise, accurate updates, and usually you need them fast.
Yeah, no one wants a long, rambling story.
Exactly. So what makes Jenny's update to Liam about the product launch so effective?
Jenny's progress report is just a prime example of efficiency. She doesn't waste any time. She states directly, it's on track. We completed the testing phase yesterday. Clear status.
Okay.
Then she proactively addresses potential worries. Just a few minor bugs, but the dev team is fixing them.
So anticipates the likely follow-up question.
Exactly. Provides the crucial information quickly, reassures Liam that issues are actually being handled, and maintains confidence in the project timeline. It's really about anticipating those questions before they're even asked.
Okay, so we've seen how that internal clarity really drives efficiency. But what happens when you need to communicate outside your immediate team, or even outside the company?
Right. The stakes can feel higher then.
Our next set of dialogues explores how these same principles, clarity, conciseness, become maybe even more vital in external and formal communications. Starting with the front line, a client phone call.
Yeah, and what's really evident in the call between Karen, who's from a kind company, BlueTech, and the receptionist is just the sheer professionalism from both sides.
How does that show?
Well, the receptionist handles the fact that Mr. Williams isn't available very politely. Mr. Williams is in a meeting. Can I take a message? Standard, but polite and clear.
Okay.
And Karen's message is equally clear and concise. Please let him know I'd like to reschedule our call to Monday at 3 p.m. No ambiguity. All the necessary info is there.
So the sort of unexpected insight from just that brief call is what exactly?
Is that professional clarity? Even in really simple messages like taking a phone message, it's the absolute bedrock of maintaining positive external relationships. It builds trust.
Yeah, it's about respecting everyone's time and making sure information doesn't get lost or garbled.
Exactly. No room for error when dealing with clients especially.
And finally, let's look at an interview. Even a mini interview conversation, which might seem quite brief, can reveal a surprising amount about a candidate.
Definitely. First impressions count, even in short exchanges.
So how does a candidate make a really big impact in just a short exchange like this?
Well, it raises that key question, doesn't it? How do you present yourself effectively and articulate your interests succinctly?
Yeah.
So when the HR person asks about their background, the candidate immediately highlights their key strengths. 5 years of experience in digital marketing and a strong background in SEO and content strategy.
Okay, SEO being search engine optimization, good buzzwords.
Right, relevant skills up front. And then when asked about their interest in this specific role, they tailor the answer. I'm looking for a new challenge and really admire your company's focus on innovation.
So connecting their goals to the company's values.
Precisely. The core insight here isn't just what you say, but how clearly and directly you say it. And crucially, explicitly aligning your skills and your ambitions with the specific role and the company culture.
So we've kind of walked through this whole fascinating series of dialogues, haven't we?
It's a way range.
From those internal check-ins and collaborative problem-solving moments.
Asking for help, giving feedback.
Right. To project updates, client calls, even those short interview snippets. What becomes really, really clear is that these diverse yet totally everyday conversations, They form the absolute backbone of an effective professional life.
They really do. And by paying close attention, to the specific patterns, the polite structures, the efficient way information is exchanged in these essential business dialogues,
Yeah.
you're not just like improving your English vocabulary or grammar, you're actually mastering the art of clear, concise, and impactful communication.
In pretty much any professional setting.
Exactly. This isn't about memorizing scripts. It's about understanding the underlying strategies, maybe even the psychology, that makes conversations really land effectively.
Okay, so before we wrap up, maybe a final thought for our listeners to chew on.
Sure. Consider this. How might mastering these communication patterns, which seem pretty simple on the surface, how might that not only boost your daily efficiency, but also subtly, over time, build trust and strengthen your professional relationships? And maybe, just maybe, pave the way for unexpected opportunities that you might never seen coming otherwise.